I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investmentpitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Reuben Yap, the project steward of Zcoin. Reuben, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you, Ashton.
Likewise, if we could kick off the interview by understanding a little bit more about the problems that the Zcoin project is solving and how the privacy protocol actually works.
Sure. So, we are privacy cryptocurrency, and I would say most cryptocurrencies now do not have any kind of meaningful privacy. And the reason of that is because, blockchain records everything permanently and publicly. That means every single transaction is, there for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we really think that's a real problem for many reasons. I mean, if you want to use it for business, you don't want your competitors to know, about, who is your suppliers, how much you pay your staff. But even on a more fundamental, like human rights level, where you don't want, like, everyone surveilling how much you have as a financial privacy, right? When I'm
Mm-hmm.
paying for a cup of coffee, he doesn't even need to know how much I have or where I got my money from. So the idea is that Zcoin is a privacy first digital currency, and we enable untraceable transactions.
Mm-hmm.
We see as a check and balance between the state and the government as well. And how we achieve this is using certain types of zero knowledge proof technology that allow people to destroy their coins
Mm-hmm.
and to redeem them for brand new ones with no previous transaction. It's like brand new coins. And that's the way we kind of we achieve privacy on our platform. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's really interesting. And it's funny because a lot of people that aren't really involved with cryptocurrency yet think that it's super anonymous and that it can't be traced. But the fact is that, Bitcoin and Ethereum can pretty easily be traced using chain analysis. So I'd like to dive in a little bit deeper with Zcoin and Bitcoin and Ethereum, which most people are familiar with. Are
Sure.
there similarities to Zcoin and Bitcoin? And also, does Zcoin have, or does Bitcoin and Ethereum have any of the privacy features at all that Zcoin does have?
Um, I think it's first of all, I mean, Zcoin is based off a Bitcoin base, so we
Mm-hmm.
share many of the like key infrastructure, like
Mm-hmm.
the node code and stuff like that.
Okay.
But if you're saying that can they actually implement Zcoin privacy, I think this is one of the things that is going to be very hard for them to do. It's probably impossible for Bitcoin to do just because they're so conservative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once you start introducing like more advanced forms of cryptography, it's going to be quite divisive. Because if you want to implement a privacy protocol, it's not just an implementation, it actually needs a hard fork because you need to support special type of transactions.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum, I mean, they don't have it on the base layer, but you can kind of do it in certain types of smart contracts. But similarly, they aren't using our technology. They're generally using stuff like ZK snarks,
Mm-hmm.
which have for some drawbacks as well. So I would say that none of them have the kind of privacy that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the privacy solutions that Bitcoin are having are something called coin join, which
Mm-hmm.
is a bunch of people coming together and agreeing to mix their funds together, which
Mm-hmm.
actually has been shown not to be very effective if you really want high levels of privacy. So no, I would say none of them can match what we have at this
Mm-hmm.
point in time. Yeah.
That's that's good to know. And with Zcoin, in terms of the ease of use, between Bitcoin having a Bitcoin wallet and being able to send Bitcoin easily to another person's Bitcoin wallet on their phones, is it just as easy to do the same with Zcoin?
Sure. I mean, yes, I think it's exactly the same process as, sending, receiving. With our current protocol, you kind of need to burn the coins first if you want anonymous
Mm-hmm.
transactions, but you can always do that in in advance. And one of our upcoming releases is with Edge mobile wallet, and that actually pre-burns all your coins, so that when any time you need to send an anonymous transaction, it's all ready for them to use. So I would say no particular real differences in usability there.
That's good. And I've heard, outsiders sort of backlash against privacy coins because they could be used for nefarious purposes or for bad reasons. But Zcoin claims that, there's potential to be used for bad, but there's also a lot of potential to be used for good. Can you talk about, why the positives outweigh any potential negatives of using this kind of technology?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, privacy and encryption in general has always, sometimes people paint it as a something negative, right? And I guess the most common argument is that I have nothing to hide. Why should I be afraid? Don't I trust the government? Well, first of all, that's a big question mark. But the other thing is that, who said that? It was Goebbels, who was one of the head of the Nazi propaganda. So the idea is that, first of all, privacy is a human right? I would say it's a fundamental human right, and it I feel that we should have ability to control what we wish to reveal to the world. And if you take a look even at those people who use privacy coins, or those that use CoinJoin or all sort of coin mixing services, the vast majority of them are for legitimate transactions. I mean, it's shown in blockchain analysis companies. They're saying very, very few like tainted funds, hacked funds, are actually using this type of systems, which go to show that most people just want privacy. It's not about like hiding illegal activity. And even if you want to go down that path, you can do money laundering and all this sort of thing using existing fiat methods very easily as well. Like, I would say 70% of money laundering from developing nations are done using trade-based money laundering, which is pretty simple to do. So why would you bother with something like cryptocurrency? So more importantly, I hope people realize that it's not about saying something to hide, right? But can you imagine like a company or a government or authority, or even just a nefarious, like very well-equipped third party being able to say, oh, look, Reuben, you have 1,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to point a gun to your head. I think that's a real problem, right? I don't think we should be giving out data willy-nilly. And similarly, you're not going to give your bank statements to everybody. And because of the public nature of blockchain, which is not just to someone, it's to everyone, we really need tools like this to protect. And I guess the last point I would like to make is that if you do believe in the actual original like precepts of cryptocurrency, which is to be uncensorable, right, and above any sort of power, you can't be uncensorable if you don't have privacy, because basically, I know it is. I can point the gun to your head. I do think that to be uncontrollable, to be uncensorable, privacy is a necessary element, and I think we should really move away from talking about whether it's hide from illicit activity, because honestly, the data shows that it's not really the case.
Yeah. And part of maintaining your privacy is using this technology that's integrated into Zcoin called zero knowledge proofs. Now, a lot of people have heard this word, but may not understand exactly how does it work in maintaining the privacy, but being able to make a transaction.
Sure. Well, actually, zero knowledge proofs is just a type of like mathematical proof, and the basic idea of zero knowledge proof is to prove that you've done something without giving any other data beyond the fact that that thing is true. So, for example, in Zcoin, the fact that you burn coins and redeem them for brand new ones, you have to prove to the network that you burned coins. but without showing the exact coin that you burn. Because if you're showing that, oh, when I'm redeeming, I'm going to redeem this exact one that I burnt, then there's no privacy there. So the beauty of this particular zero knowledge proof is to prove that, yes, I'm one of these people who burnt. And the basic idea of zero knowledge proof is to prove something without giving any other additional data. The user doesn't actually have to do anything on the text. That happens all in the back end.
Yeah.
But and I also would like to clarify that, you know, zero knowledge proof is not just one thing. There are many types of zero knowledge proof, and in particular, the proofs that we use is actually something called one out of many proofs. The most other popular one that is in use today is something called ZK Snarks, which is used in Zcash. So please don't get confused. There are many ways to use zero knowledge proofs and many types of zero knowledge proofs.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And I guess part of the next step for mainstream adoption, or one of the major steps, is having the scalability of the network, being able to do thousands or tens of thousands of transactions at the same time, so that many people around the world can transact. And this has been a major problem with Bitcoin and Ethereum having low transaction volume, scalability, limiting their growth. Can you talk about, have you overcome the scaling problems within those blockchains, and are you able to bring this to a level that would be possible to have mainstream adoption?
Sure. I mean, first of all, we are based off a Bitcoin core, so you know any problems that Bitcoin faces, we do face as well. But I mean, this is, I guess, is a bit of a controversial view. Even in its current state, right? Bitcoin's scalability is kind of artificially limited with the one megabyte block size, right? It's like you have a fixed bus, and obviously the transactions only can fit in that. And obviously the easy way to do that is to increase the blockchain size or arrange them more efficiently. Zcoin even currently can do 4 times the transaction volume of Bitcoin. We can easily bring it up to 8 times, 10 times or so. Now, this is not to say that this is sufficient for world scale use, and of course, other stuff like Lightning, and we also have other stuff like potential use cases like Avalanche and all this type of technologies that would allow greater scalability. But really, right now, the problem of privacy is today. We have that problem now. Honestly, the scalability issue is something that maybe we're 5 or 10 years out, and we have to really focus on the problems that we have today, and we are the experts in privacy, so we decided to focus there. But another cool thing is that our privacy transactions, we do have optimizations whereby instead of verifying every single transaction, we can batch them together so that we only need to do part of the work, and then the rest is really, really quick. So we do have stuff, and definitely scalability is a concern for us. But right now we feel that privacy is a bigger issue.
Yeah, that's good to know. And you're right, you don't need it overnight, because there is sort of a gradual increase in adoption, and it doesn't always happen overnight. But one of the things, when you continue to scale, do you see a trade-off between increasing scalability but also maintaining a level of decentralization, and also making sure that the privacy functions work with the scalability as well? Is there like a three-way trade-off there?
Yeah, like what do you call it, the trilemma or something like that. Well, first of all, generally privacy technologies do come at a cost, right? Because the transactions that you verify are much more complex, because you have to verify the zero knowledge proof. So there's additional lag for the computers to do. So it does affect it a bit, but I mean, at current scales, or even at 4 times the current scales, that's not going to be an issue. In sense of decentralization, I think that's a really good point, because obviously there are many projects that say that, oh, we have how many thousand TPS and stuff like that, and then you realize that how they're achieving it is only having a couple of nodes validate. So that's like a real centralization. If I'm only going to choose 5 nodes to validate everything, obviously it's going to be faster. Then why do you need the blockchain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like Avalanche, although it's not been deployed in a while yet, I do think those actually scale even as you add more nodes, even as you add more transactions. So those are really, really interesting protocols. I mean, Avalanche isn't the only one, but I do think that's really good. I would say that there is definitely progress in that area. So I'm pretty sure that this is something that is going to be solved within the next couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And if there are viewers that are looking to follow along with the updates for Zcoin or start getting involved in the community, what's the best way for them to reach out and learn more?
Sure. Our website's at zcoin.io with all the community links. I think I would guess our most active community channel is at Zcoin Project on Telegram, and that's bridged to everything else like our Discord and our RRC, our Matrix server. So we're also pretty active on Twitter with Zcoin Official. So yeah, those are the best places.
Great. Well, I will leave those links in the description box for the viewers. Thank you so much for the time, Reuben. That's all the time that we have for the interview, but all the best with Zcoin moving forward, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thanks so much, Ashton.